Lock it up. Let's step into the huddle.
You're listening to the PreSnap podcast brought to you by LineStar App, the top-rated DFS tool set and #1 companion for DraftKings, FanDuel, and Yahoo Daily Fantasy. Go LineStar Premium now at LineStarApp.com. Now here are your hosts, fantasy football experts Joe Pisapia and Scott Bogman.
Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? It's me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, and welcome to the PreSnap right here on the LineStar app. It is me, it is Scott Bogman, it is you, and we're recapping week 7 and hot taking week 8 right here, courtesy of the LineStar app, the greatest ever, all time, the greatest DFS tool site in the history of the universe. Go get that LineStar app right now. Drop everything, unless you're holding like a child, in which case don't do that. Don't drop or a glass. Don't, it's a weird expression when you think about it, drop everything. So don't drop anything, but drop everything that you can and go.
Well,
get
it doesn't
that
actually mean
app.
Physically drop everything. It means,
it doesn't? Every time I heard that, I would just drop whatever I had, like a cereal bowl. I would just drop it. If I heard a commercial, drop everything.
Bowl, baby, dishes, glasses, anything, you just drop it.
Yeah, I would just drop it. But I see now, in retrospect, that's probably not.
I mean, if a cop is yelling "drop it" at you, you should probably drop it. But other than that, when people say "drop it," they mean stop what you're doing. And
what if Snoop Dogg was yelling at me to drop it? Should I drop it?
Like it's hot.
Yes.
You should. Yes.
Okay. Well, there you go. All right. And Scott Bogman here with you. Obviously, the two of us are going to go through the week that was and look ahead a little bit. We've got some fun stuff going on. Tua's going to make his start this week, his debut in the NFL against, his debut as a starter anyway, against Justin Herbert. So that's going to be fun. Your Pittsburgh Steelers still undefeated, going to take on the Ravens. So we'll get to all that. But first, let's take a look back at the week that was. And, let's start with that $1 million lineup, which on FanDuel, of course, it had Tyler Lockett in it. Basically, you had to have Tyler Lockett, and everybody was concerned, including us. When this game got moved to Sunday night, we said, oh, no, is it going to come off the main slate? Well, it stayed, and Tyler Lockett was brilliant. 15 catches in this one, 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. You had to have Tyler Lockett to get close to any of the big-time tournaments because it was 45 points on the half PPR. My God. And Devontae Adams was kind of right there with him. He had 38. Adams was chalk this week. It was the good chalk. And Kyler Murray was the good chalk. He was in this lineup. But the difference maker here was fading of running backs Boggs. And it had Gio Bernard and James Robinson. Bernard, obviously, the later edition of the week when Mixon was out. And Robinson with the big bounce back game. And he was just 5% owned in this contest. And I give all 5.2% of those people credit because guess what? I wasn't touching Robinson because it had been so bad the last 3 weeks.
I benched him in a
well, yeah, that's my question. Is he back now? Is that it?
I'm not going to sit here and say that he's back to anyone. I mean, I think what we know now is that he is capable of a big week at any point. We really didn't think he was going to be very successful against the Chargers, but this Jacksonville offense is not. It is not foolproof. We know that. So I'm not excited to put Robinson out there on a week-to-week basis, but know that he can produce at any point. I would say that.
Yeah, that is fair. I mean, this lineup had Hopkins in it too, who, despite the fumble, still put up 19 points. Also, Christian Kirk was in this lineup, 18 points for him. He's had a nice little run recently too.
He has,
catching some touchdowns. He's been explosive. Again, is against Dallas and Seattle, but still
the two worst pass defenses I may have ever seen in my life.
It's pretty bad.
They're terrible.
Another good chalk that we were on was a Kansas City Chiefs defense. We were all over that. We talked about the Broncos being a turnover machine this year. That was good. They scored 24 points. That's a lot of points there from a defense. So if you faded Buffalo and you went with us there on that one, you did okay. Alvin Kamara was a disappointment. There's no doubt about it. Without the touchdown, it was a disappointment. He had 18 and a half points.
My touchdown picks, Joe. Both of them.
I know. You went goose egg this
days.
Oh.
They had great days, but didn't get in the end zone. Kamara had a ton of yards combined. Galladay had over 100 receiving, but neither of them got in the end zone.
And that's 2 weeks in a row for Galladay. 2 weeks in a row for Galladay where he was really good but no touchdown. That's infuriating. I'll also take the hit on DK Metcalf. He had just 3 points, even though he had the highlight reel of the century.
He should have had that walk-off touchdown too, but Lockett threw that low block. So
You should have. The Tyler Lockett got everything. Kareem Hunt was good. He had 17. Tyler Boyd was good, 22 from him. So some good things there, no doubt about that. DeAndre Swift was okay. I'm glad we were on Murray, though, too, because Murray was another dude that, people don't realize. I don't know if you realize right now, boys and girls, but Murray's the number one quarterback in fantasy in terms of scoring. So, I mean, he just controls so much of his own destiny with the point total. You have to really consider him.
And it should be more with Drake out. Like
it should.
They're going to run Chase Edmonds a bunch, but Kyler Murray is going to take those shots. And they were even talking about it on, during the broadcast, talking about how Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury said that he needs him to not run as much, but you can't take that ability away from him because he's a playmaker. So it's kind of a double-edged sword he's running there, but I expect Kyler Murray to do a little bit more with his legs even than he has been doing so far.
Yeah, A.J. Brown was very good, too. Another guy we were on very much. 6 receptions for 153 and a touchdown. He had 24 points, so good day for him. So it was some pluses and minuses here. Overall, not a great week. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, we always keep it real here on the show. I think my top lineup was 156. That's not going to get much done here. So we got to really, put the nose to the grindstone, come back and do it all again. Also, obviously, another week where some surprising wins and losses. Now, I haven't looked yet. Have you tabulated last week's showing for us from picks, or are we still in work in progress? And how did we do on there? Because I would imagine not great either. I imagine this was kind of like a meh, another because of the
it's
upset.
Not as bad as you think.
Okay.
Against the spread, you were 6-7. That was the worst of any of us.
Oh, we were pretty good. I'm looking at it now.
I was 9-4
straight up. Woo.
Yeah, you were 10-3 straight up. I was 9-4 straight up because I picked the stupid Bears who couldn't move the ball. And then I was 9-4 against the spread as well, and I was 7-6. Finally, over 500 on the over-unders. You were 8-5. So
I still cry. I own over-unders are my bitch this year. I own the over and the under. You cannot get around.
You're almost 20 games up. You're 54-37 right now, and I'm 57-38 against the spread. So we're doing pretty well in those.
Every week, listen to me for over-unders, Bogman against the spread, and you're winning money. I mean, it's just crazy right now. But some good games. Look, the Pittsburgh Tennessee game was great. I know for you, I'm sure you didn't enjoy the fourth quarter all that much, but you got the W.
The whole second half, 3 points in the second half. That was pathetic. And the
Patriots
play calling was making me rip my hair out.
As a Patriots fan, I was miserable. It was the worst game I've seen in 30 years as a Patriots fan. Ooh, and Seattle, Arizona was entertaining. I was entertained by the Washington game with Dallas for the wrong reasons. And the Jets covered. I knew they would cover. I said it on the show. Buffalo's not that good. They can't run the football.
It's not really that the Jets covered, Joe. It's that the Bills didn't cover. I think that's more of the statement on that, right? It has to be.
Well, that number is 19 this week. So I don't know. We'll see when we get to Friday what that looks like. And if you don't already, subscribe to the show. That way on Friday you get when the wagering show drops. On Thursdays our DFS preview. But there was good and bad, mixed bag. Cincinnati and Cleveland, also another very amusing game. What do you make of Herbert, who, since he's taken over, by the way, he's the 6th fantasy scoring quarterback since he's taken over? Joe Burrow with another huge day. It feels like the kids are kind of taking over right now.
Yeah, I mean, with Herbert specifically, I think the thing with him was you watch his college film and some of it's impressive, but some of it is very unimpressive. It's a mixed bag. And the big thing coming into the NFL for him was working on his confidence. And he seemed super confident during the whole draft process. He was loud. He was in charge. He was in people's faces. And I think he's kind of brought that type of a swagger to the NFL with him because that was a knock on him. I think it put a chip on his shoulder. So you've seen him playing well, I feel like, because of that. He's still going to have ups and downs. We saw him almost beat the Chiefs, and then the next week play terribly. But this week against the Jaguars was, the Jaguars, the Jets, those are slump busters,
Well, and here's a question, too. Some people will say, well, Herbert's been so good, and, he's taken he's basically taken advantage of good matchups. But I want to give the kid credit because I've watched him quite a bit. And I've been pretty impressed overall. I mean, Keenan Allen certainly helped, and my goodness, he's made Keenan Allen relevant again, which has been great. But I feel like, Herbert actually, he's far exceeded my expectations, but I'm cautiously optimistic that despite there being more film on him the rest of the season, that, he will still be pretty good.
I mean, we can say he's taking advantage of bad teams here, but that was really just Jacksonville. They lost to New Orleans, but only by 3 in New Orleans. Great performance there.
Well, their defense
everybody
is very good. No offense. I mean,
but everybody knows Tampa Bay's defense is good. In the week before they annihilated Aaron Rodgers, Herbert and the Chargers went in and put 31 points on those guys. So, I think he's been much better than expected and very impressive this year. So his price is going to have to start coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, overall in the wagering, like we said, pretty good there. We certainly got some of the big things right. That's for sure. DFS side, the Camaro we thought was the good chalk. It was, had he had the touchdown, it would have been much better. The touchdown really would have changed the dynamic a little bit, but you can't get under 18 points when your salary is 9. You just can't. You're just too tied in there. Logan Thomas was good. That was good. Darren Fells was not. So you get Logan Thomas. I'll take the L on Darren Fells without a doubt there on that one. But look, overall, mixed bag, more good than bad, but still, not good enough. However, it's 3 weeks in a row now. I'm making a comeback here in this touchdown contest. So I'm just, after getting spanked for a month by you, all of a sudden, I guess we got the film on Scott Bogman, and now I know what's up.
Yeah, apparently, all my plays are slant plays over the middle, and you start spying that linebacker stuff. Yeah. It's Madden. Yeah, exactly. So, I got to do a better job at that. I mean, like I said, I keep picking guys that have decent yards weeks, but then don't get into the end zone. So, except for I think I picked Juju in his really, really bad week a couple weeks ago, but Claypool got in the end zone 4 times. Who was supposed to know at that point? But I got a good feeling about week 8 here. So,
well, let's start it. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's transition. It's week 8, and let's talk about your Steelers and Ravens, because that's the game right there. Deontay Johnson was great. I am miserable because I have him everywhere, and I didn't start him because, frankly, after Claypool and Juju and all this, I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. I know in the Black Book this week, you reassured me this is Deontay Johnson. He's in. He's viable. So, are you going to this well against the Ravens this week?
Yeah, I think Deontay Johnson is a okay start. I think he's probably not going to be. He's going to be a little too expensive for me to want to start him going up against Marlon Humphrey. So I think that Deontay will get Humphrey, since Deontay has been the most impressive problem for the Steelers. So I think I would rather pay up for Juju or Claypool this week against the Ravens than I would pay up for Deontay. But it's hard for me to sit here and tell you no on Deontay, because he has been so good, and he's clearly the first option that Ben is looking for on most plays. So,
well, what do you do with these two defenses? I mean, because these are the top 5 defenses in the league right now, the Steelers and Ravens. So, we could check out the total and stuff, but are you fading this game, generally speaking, in DFS because of the total, or is this going to be one of these ones that kind of surprise it? We talked about last week. We're like, you know what? We think this Tennessee-Pittsburgh total is going to surprise, and it did. Do you think this is the same kind of case here, where I don't want to say you take the defenses and you throw them out the window, but maybe this is going to be a higher scoring game than people realize?
I don't think it's going to be. I think this is going to be a low scoring affair, because when both these teams are good, I think what you want to do is run the ball on the other team and keep the ball out of Lamar's hands, out of Ben's hands, and wear down that defense. So I think that's going to be the strategy for both these teams coming in. You've been better at the over-unders than I have this year, obviously. But that's how I kind of see this game playing.
Well, the number is 46.5, just to give you an idea.
Yeah, I know it's low, but I could see it playing to around that number or even lower. I mean, we've seen some real classic slug out 10-3, 7-6, games between the Ravens and Steelers here. And I think we're going to get kind of a return to that type of a game finally. It hasn't really been. Last year, it wasn't a rivalry. They just beat the crap out of us. So, that's what happens when you lose Ben Roethlisberger and you have Mason Rudolph playing. So, And before it was, Lamar taking over, Joe Flacco was kind of a joke. And the Steelers were pounding Joe Flacco into the ground the last few years. So I think in this one, it's going to be a low scoring affair. It's going to be a nice, nasty slug out game that I get to sleep an extra hour for because Arizona doesn't do daylight savings. So.
Yeah, that whole thing. And you know what? You tell the Ravens are really getting desperate here to get somebody in for some wide receiver help because they brought Des Bryant in and signed him to the practice squad. So only in 2020, my friend. We got an AB signing and a Des Bryant signing in the same week. I mean, all right. So the next game here, we got the Dolphins. So we've got Tua against the Rams, and the Rams are always an inconsistent team. Look, the Monday Night Football game was terrible. Oh God, having to watch that. It's like I couldn't watch it straight through. I had to keep flipping around.
It was more on the Bears offense, I think, than it was.
Yeah, it was.
The Rams defense.
Look, Goff did a good job of spreading the ball around, but they were infuriating from a fantasy standpoint. I mean, Robert Woods makes the most of whatever he gets, but I don't know, man. Like
they can't pick a running back. I lost
can't pick a running back.
A point in one of my season-long leagues because Darrell Henderson could get 10 more yards.
Right,
or
he didn't get frustrating. Or Malcolm Brown got the touchdown instead of
exactly.
That's what happened.
Brown got the touchdown, so vultured it from my guy here. So that was annoying. But yeah, I'm not. The Rams are a big question mark every single week. You would like to say they're in play against the Dolphins. Dolphins defense has been improved from what it was last year, but not much better. And I'm going to lay off picking any Dolphins, obviously, this week, but I want to see what the rapport is like. There's always, like, Robbie Anderson was way better whenever Sam Darnold was out there. So there's always a better rapport with a quarterback. It may still be Parker, but he may love throwing to Gesicki and not Preston Williams, or vice versa. He may love dump offs to the running back, so maybe Gaskin gets a little more involved, or Breida gets more involved. So we'll just have to see how this offense changes with Tua. So I'm with you, Joe. I'm going to lay off the Dolphins this week. And if you're starting someone from the Rams, it's Goff. And that's probably maybe Robert Woods, Bobby Trees, as he's been called on the ITL.
And I apologize if I earlier misspoke. I saw LA and I immediately think Chargers and I get excited, but I forgot it's the Rams. And I have the inverse effect. Despite the fact that the Rams have more wins, I am more excited about the Chargers. That's what I'm excited about in LA because, I want to see fantasy stuff. That's what I want. The Rams are absolutely infuriating. All right, speaking of infuriating, the Jets are 0-7, taking on the 6-1 Chiefs in Kansas City. 19.5 is the number. Hot take right now. The Jets can cover this.
No, they can't. No.
Really? They're going to lose by 20?
Yep.
Wow. It's a lot.
It's the Chiefs and the Jets. I mean, the only way they cover this, to me, is a backdoor cover in the fourth quarter when all the Chiefs are benched and the Jets starters are playing a little bit better. But no, look, Buffalo was struggling, and that's why they didn't cover the 12. If it had been 7.5 or 8, they still would have hit it. But I think that I think I'm definitely taking the Chiefs. The Jets are just one of the more pathetic teams I've ever witnessed in my life. So and I've watched a lot of football. So
I'll tell you what, man, the Patriots are closer to the Jets than they are to the playoffs after watching them last week. They were bad.
Yeah. Like, I think that can be fixed with Cam Newton. Like, Cam Newton could have a great day, and the majority of that could and those worries could go away. But there's nothing for the Jets. I mean,
20 is just a huge number, dude. It's just huge.
It is. I
Three scores.
I might be more confident in it because I'm used to seeing the lines on college football games and talking about those as well. And Ohio State was just a 26.5 point favorite this last week. You know what I mean? So those lines are much bigger, but I have all confidence that the Chiefs will beat the Jets by at least 20 points.
Well, I'll tell you what, Chiefs defense is going to be highly owned. I imagine. I haven't even looked at their top of the board quite yet, but they're definitely going to be up there. And, what's tough about the Chiefs, the same thing we've always been saying, which is, they're very expensive. And look, take last week as an example. Travis Kelce was expensive and he didn't deliver. He fell woefully short on tight end day, no less. And that's what makes the Chiefs so tough. Like, you can have Mahomes by himself. This is going to be the Le'Veon Bell game too, right? He's going to get a little opportunity here. How many carries do you think Le'Veon Bell, or let me say, how many touches do you think Le'Veon Bell gets in this game against the Jets?
I'll say around 13, 14, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Does he? Wow, that's a lot. First game really in an off. Does he get a touchdown? You think they hand him the ball at the goal line? Just so he can spike it in Adam Gase's face.
You know what? Yeah, I think he does. I think this was one of the things that was on his radar. He wanted to be on a team that played the Jets this year. So yeah, I think he does score.
Yeah, well, and it also happens to be the Super Bowl champions, I mean, they play the Jets too. Okay, good, but I like a Super Bowl ring and some more money, please. But Mims came back for the Jets, first game back. He had some moments there, and Michael P.
Not
Ryan,
bad. I'm not ready to start him in DFS, but not bad.
No. But that's
keep an eye out.
Getting better, for the Jets.
There's also no Crowder this week, so we'll see if Crowder comes back and gets all the catches again, like he usually does.
Right, which typically, and he should. I want him to. Vikings at Packers. So the Vikings here are coming off a bye. I mean, their season's basically done already. They're 1-5 facing the Packers, but who knows? I mean, my guess is they'll come out and they'll be competitive, and then they'll blow it like they always do. That just seems to be the MO there. If Aaron Jones is out again, you want to go back to Williams, because Williams certainly had a hell of a DFS game. He looked great last week. I mean, the price is going to be a little higher, but not much.
Yeah, I mean, I think I do. The I almost call them the Twins. The Vikings are they're okay at stopping the run, but they're still giving up 127 yards a game. So I think I'm with Jamal Williams. Should Aaron Jones be a no-go again, for sure.
And Cook's supposed to be healthy for this one too, theoretically, right? We're getting Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, he's supposed to be. I mean, the Packers are 12th in the league at stopping the run, though, 110 yards per game. So not the greatest game for him to start. I think he was kind of pedestrian against the Packers in the first game this year anyway. So I don't think I'm not running to add a, coming off an injury in a bye week, Dalvin Cook. So I'll say that.
The Lions and the Colts are going to lock up. Who's been quietly good? We talked about whether or not Marvin Jones would have a shot, and he was not very good, so he's done. That was his shot last week against Atlanta. You don't score against Atlanta much, then you're not going to score the rest of the year. But Hawkinson's been quietly good. He's got 4 touchdowns on the year. He's starting to feel it, I think. Now, look, it's not a great matchup here against the Colts, but then again, Cincinnati put up a bunch of points against the Colts, so maybe there's more here than meets the eye. What's your take on the Colts and Lions this week?
I just always fear that Hawkinson is banged up, because he was hurt all year last year. He played gimpy pretty much the whole season. And he even said coming into this year that he wasn't 100%. So I always feel like he is going to be just a little behind the 8 ball. And without that touchdown last week, I don't think we'd be talking about him at all. And that was at the very end of the game. So I'm not super high on Hawkinson, although I do love his overall skill. I just wish Stafford threw the tight end more and trust him a little bit. Hopefully that grows throughout the rest of this year. The Colts, I want to sit here and tell you to start someone on the Colts. It would probably be Jonathan Taylor, but they just haven't relented and given him the ball for a ton of carries, which is exactly what they should do against the Lions. And I fear that they're not going to do it again. They're going to give
it's going to be
him
13 carries or something. Yeah.
Well, they're going to give him like 16, 17, and they're going to give like 10 to Nyheim Hines. And why is Hines getting any of those? Give 25 to Taylor. If they gave him
25, I agree.
Wear
out
out
have a huge fantasy day. I agree.
Yeah.
I'm with you, dude, but I don't think I could go there either. Raiders and Cleveland Browns are going to lock up here in this one. It's going to be in Cleveland, who's now 5-2. Odell Beckham's out for the year, but it doesn't matter because Rashard Higgins looks good. I saw the stat. I think it was my buddy Andrew Erickson posted this on Twitter about Baker Mayfield's quarterback rating throwing the ball in his career to Rashard Higgins, and it's like ridiculous. It's like 158 or something. It's nuts. And it's a funny little stat, but it's something that we even talked about in the Black Book a couple weeks ago. It's like, maybe it's time to start speculating on Higgins and not knowing what was going to happen here this week. But you know what? Here we are. Higgins is in play for me this week against the Raiders. And on the flip side, of all people, Nelson Aguilar's got 3 touchdowns in a row. I mean, I know it's Nelson Aguilar, but at a certain point, when does a trend become something that we have to kind of relent to a little bit?
When it's not Nelson Aguilar.
Fair enough.
When it does it. So I can't stomach starting him, because the week I finally relent and go, all right, he scored a touchdown 3 straight weeks or whatever it is. I start him. He gets the donut. Like, that's just how it goes for Nelson Aguilar. I think Kareem Hunt obviously a great start in this game. The Raiders defense looked pretty rough against Tampa Bay last week. So they're better against the run than they are against the pass. But I don't know. Are you confident in throwing Baker Mayfield out after coming off his career game? Because
no,
Okay.
because it was Cincinnati. No, I'm not into Baker Mayfield. I am into Kareem Hunt as always. I'll be into Higgins.
I like
That's
Higgins
where
too.
I draw the line
and
there.
I want to, obviously not to start anywhere, but I want to watch and see if Donovan Peoples-Jones can get on the field a little bit.
The People's Champ. Titans at Bengals. Now this one I'm going to be into because Bengals defense is terrible. So it's going to be a pay up for Derrick Henry.
Titans defense is bad too. So
yeah. Oh, even more to the party. Let's go. Let's all get. This is the game stack for me this week. Bengals and Titans. AJ Brown's a star. Tannehill's in play. I mean, Burrow's going to be cheaper, so I might go there, especially with the lack of run game.
On Derrick Henry yards. What are you setting it
at? 115.
Yeah, I'll go over that. You were gonna say 120 something. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, it's a little too much. I was like 115. I want to make it interesting.
Bengals are giving up 133.7 yards per game on the ground. So
the total for this game is 54.5, by the way, in case you're over.
I want to say over too, but if the Bengals prove they can't stop Derrick Henry, this might be a 30 carry game for him. So
yeah, but you know what?
Wouldn't be surprising.
But the Titans, like you said, though, but they just give up points anyway. I mean,
they do.
Look, Joe Burrow's going to have to throw the ball, which means Tyler Boyd and Higgins are going to be back in this one too. I'm going to be in for those guys. I might just have one lineup where it's just this game, pretty much, and just this is it. Let's just go.
I don't blame you.
By the way, going back to the Browns real quick, just before it goes out of my head, Bryant, if Hooper is out again this week.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
That's another piece to be throwing in there as well. And we'll talk about that more on Thursday's DFS preview, but that's a piece going forward, especially with Odell out and Chubb out and they're missing pieces. He looked pretty good in that game. He's got some touchdown equity. This next game, Pats and Bills. No, thank you. I do not want any. I maybe I want Diggs. Maybe I want Beasley. In a full point PPR and DK, he's been very steady. He's got like 22 catches out of 25 targets in the last 3 games, Cole Beasley. Ever since John Brown came up lame with that calf, Beasley stepped up. And Beasley has stepped up too because the lack of the run game in Buffalo, he's become like the Julian Edelman. He's the run game. He's the 5-yard short pass. And that's how you move the chains to Cole Beasley. And until that changes, he's viable too. But there is not one person right now a viable fantasy option on the Patriots. And it's not a hot take. It's the truth. I said it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Beasley and Diggs are the only 2 startable players in this game at all whatsoever. So, yeah, this is going to be, when we're going over it in a couple days, it's going to be, nope, just skip it. We're good.
Pretty much. I mean, no, I will say Diggs because even as good as Gilmore is, I mean, I don't know. I think Diggs can still break. You know what? I'll probably fade away from Diggs. It'll be Beasley in DK because I'm sure he'll be cheap. And that'll be it. That'll be the one piece, and then it'll save everybody a lot of time. All right, let's go to the 4 o'clock games here. There's 3 games at 4 o'clock. And my God, can we switch out 49ers and Seahawks to the night game? Can we get rid of Cowboys-Eagles? I mean, we switched the Seattle Seahawks last week when we had COVID issues. Why can't we flex this game?
I just want to hear one. Which is the Bills and Patriots the only game that you wouldn't put in over that one? That's it.
Well,
That's
I mean, the 4 o'clock game. It can only be a 4 o'clock game flexed, right? That's the schedule already.
I don't think so. I think. Well, look. First of all, nothing.
But yes, you're right. If that, you know what, you're right. I would watch any of these games, including the Lions and the Colts. I mean, even Vikings, Packers, I would watch. I'd watch the Jets just get humiliated on national television. That would be fun for me. Plus, every time the Jets play at night, I get a better 1 o'clock game because I live in Jersey. So that works. I would love to see Tua's first start. Steelers-Ravens is the best game of the whole week, and it's at 1 o'clock. So yeah, pretty much every game except the Patriots is a better game. Maybe even Chargers-Broncos is better.
Yeah. All the games are better. I mean, this game is going to be Ben DiNucci versus Carson Wentz with no offensive linemen. So it's going to be awful. It's going to be terrible.
Have you met me? My name is Ben DiNucci. I play football for the Cowboys, huh? How you
When was the last
doing?
time you saw him for real? Was it during your was it at your family reunion?
I saw Ben at the christening before the
Oh,
pandemic.
of course.
Of
Yes. How
course,
could I
because
forget?
the Italians,
Yep. Yep.
Chargers and Broncos. Give me Herbert. Give me Keenan Allen. I'll tell you what. With the way the Broncos turned the football over, Chargers defense. I'm gonna have to rest on this a little bit. They could be a sneaky play this week, just from a turnover standpoint. Broncos offense is the Broncos offense. I don't have too much in this one right off the gate, but do you have any feelings on this one?
No, I think Keenan Allen and Herbert are your guys. The Denver defense has actually played well for how many injuries they've suffered through this year. They're still 10th in total yards, tied for 16th in points, so right in the middle, and real good on third downs, holding teams to 34.5%. They're tied for fourth in that. So Denver defense is fairly strong, but Drew Lock sets up short fields, and you never know what Drew Lock you're going to get. You might get the Drew Lock that's awesome and is throwing darts out there, and Jerry Jeudy is a thing now, or you might get the Drew Lock that is throwing a bunch of balls to the Chargers. So hard to pick, hard to pin down which one you're going to get. So I would say,
Well,
for the Chargers, it's Herbert, it's Allen, and that's it.
Considering the pass rush the Chargers can put, I think it's going to be him throwing the football to other people. Just that's my gut.
Especially Ingram didn't have any stats this week, but that was kind of his warm up game. So Melvin Ingram should be in Drew Lock's face this week a bunch.
Yeah, I would imagine. 49ers and Seahawks. I your guess is as good as mine who's running the football, but whoever it is, I want him. Except if it's Tevin Coleman. If it's Tevin Coleman, I don't want him. So here's the thing. Is it McKinnon this week? Is it Hasty? Because Wilson comes in out of nowhere, scores 3 touchdowns, and leaves. He's like the tooth fairy. I don't know what the hell to do with him now. And then they got the Seahawks who can't stop anybody, and they have no running backs either. So it's basically just Russell Wilson and Jimmy Garoppolo throwing the ball all over the place.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it should be. And no Deebo Samuel for the Niners either. So huge Kittle week. If you want to pay up for him, I'm totally with that. And Ayuk, I would go with Brandon Ayuk as well. So I think he's going to be a decent buy this week. So Seattle just really can't stop anything.
Will you see people you think go to Lockett now in a heavy numbers and get away from Metcalf? Because I think that's wrong.
I mean, I do too. We know that Tyler Lockett, I mean, that's the second time Tyler Lockett has scored 3 touchdowns in a week, right? So he's just a boomer bust player. So I don't mind starting either one of them this week, DK or Lockett.
Would you go with both of them with the running back situation where it could be down to DJ Dallas or whoever, unless Hyde's able to play? Would you go with Wilson and the 2 wide receivers, or maybe a David Moore or somebody like that because, there's some possibility there?
Yeah, I mean, I could see the sack. David Moore is actually crazy cheap this week. 3,100 on DK, 4,900.
Well, there's talk he could get some carries.
FanDuel.
Apparently.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to be a little desperate at running backs, specifically if Hyde can't play at all. And it doesn't seem, a hamstring injury, usually you miss at least a week. So it doesn't look like either one of those guys are going to play. So I don't hate Travis Homer either this week. 4,000 on DK, 4,900 on FanDuel. He's not a bad buy either. So.
And the last one, you got the Saints against the Bears. Oh God, boy, Foles look terrible. I know this is crazy, but I'll say it. Do you think it's time to go back to Trubisky?
Dude, I don't think Matt Nagy can do that and keep his job. So this is why I said coming into the season, you should start with Nick Foles. And then when he fails, you go to Trubisky so Trubisky can be the savior and all that stuff and play better. And that's not what they did. They started out with Trubisky, didn't work out. They moved to Foles. He's not working out. But really, Foles said it, I guess, in an interview with Collinsworth and Michaels last week where he was saying, yeah, Matt just doesn't know that I don't have enough time to make some of the throws on the plays he calls, which is a ridiculous thing for a quarterback to say. He should have never said that to anyone in the media. But if you're going to say that to someone, how about saying it to your coach so that he doesn't call those bad plays?
Maybe he has. Well, it's tough for any offensive line to look good against Aaron Donald, but the Bears' offensive line isn't good anyway. So let's
but it was just heaves. It was just heaves from Foles yesterday. It wasn't actual throws. It was just I got to throw this because this guy is right on top of me in a second. So Nick Foles not looking good. That offensive line not looking good. And I don't expect a lot to change. The one thing the Saints can do is put pressure on a quarterback. And I think it's going to be an ugly day for the Bears.
Yeah. What about the Saints offense too? I mean, it's speaking of ugly days, like it's just kind of bunch of no-name guys scored. Kamara was a little disappointing, all things considered. Thomas is never on the field. The Saints, I'm just over it now. Like I tried to make Traquan work. I know I'm not the only one. A lot of us did. It did not happen. We thought, okay, it's a good spot. And then no, he found other guys. I think I'm out on the Saints. And of course you got the night games, the Cowboys and Eagles and the Bucks and Giants on Monday night. But Sunday, you want to take a guess? I don't know if you saw it or not, what the line on the Eagles-Cowboys game is?
I didn't see it. I'm going to guess it is the Eagles by 4.5.
Higher, Bob.
6.
Higher, Bob.
7.5.
7.5.
Oh.
Eagles of the Cowboys.
I mean,
and Nelson Aguilar's healthy. I mean, not Nelson. Oh, excuse me. Jalen Rager's healthy. Sorry, Eagles fans. Did I give you a heart attack there? My bad.
What? What did we trade?
I meant to say Jalen Rager. Not. I get my Aguilars and my Ragors confused sometimes too.
I guess I'm surprised at that initial line, but because it's going to be Ben DiNucci, I probably
how
shouldn't
is it not?
Be.
You probably shouldn't be. The total is 43.5.
They've got. I mean, what's your over/under on carries for Zeke in this game? 50. I mean, the guy should get the ball 40 times. They should.
Yeah, but we said that last week, and it didn't happen. And the week before, it didn't happen.
Do it. Mike McCarthy is crazy. This is such a bad hire, and it's going to set him back for a couple years. And who knows what's going to go on in the offseason with Dak. But it's rough being a Cowboys fan right now.
Here's a question for you. If you're the Cowboys, don't you think you should call up the Chargers and be like, hey, that Tyrod Taylor fella, what's he doing? Can we?
How about you call Colin Kaepernick?
Well, but for what? It's Jerry Jones, so I don't expect that to happen. Like I live in the real world, but Tyrod Taylor, I think, could move this offense.
You live in the real world, Seattle. Is that where you live?
Yeah,
or
the
real world, Hawaii.
Yeah, any of them. But don't you think Tyrod Taylor would be the guy? I mean, what a great savior of the season, right? Tyrod Taylor, because even if the Cowboys lose, mathematically they're still in this division.
Yeah, but I mean, why not just tank and try to get a Justin Fields or a Trevor Lawrence if you're not going to pay Dak?
Well, looks what the Patriots are doing. They came out. Wouldn't that be like? Here's the worst case scenario, right? End of the year, Jets start to play a little better. They win 2 games, one of which is against the Patriots, right? And the next thing you know, they don't get Trevor Lawrence. Like, I mean, they can't even lose right sometimes. It's misery. I tell you.
I mean, it's not like I say it's bad to be a Cowboys fan, but it's not nearly as bad to be a Jets fan. At least with the Jets, though, everything's going to change pretty soon. Like as soon as the season ends, Adam Gase is getting fired. You're getting a new head coach. The potential to have Trevor Lawrence or a very, very high-end number 1 pick is right there. So I think there's light at the end of the tunnel. You're in the middle of it if you're Dallas now. You have an injured star quarterback. Your team should be much better. They might think that they're going to be good to go next year if they pay Dak and keep McCarthy. So,
McCarthy ain't no. He's
well,
gone.
There's no light at the end of the tunnel. Jerry Jones keeps saying that McCarthy's my guy. So
I don't care. He's gone. He's gone. I've known Jerry Jones stuff long enough. I've been doing this long enough. You have too. This is an embarrassment, and they do not like to be embarrassed in Dallas, even though they get embarrassed more often than not. He's going to get fired. He is going to be
at what
one
point,
and
like,
done.
At what point do you have to recognize that the good franchises keep their coaches forever?
But Dallas kept Garrett forever, and they took a lot of heat for it. You think if Garrett was there, they wouldn't have turned and hand the ball off 25 times to Zeke? I guarantee you they
win
would.
Anything. Like, you could give a guy 10 years. If he doesn't win anything, okay, goodbye.
It just seems like the team has already quit on McCarthy. That's the thing. I think the team has quit on McCarthy. The team is already leaking information. They don't like him. So
the big thing for me, and he even said it himself, McCarthy did, was when they didn't go and beat the bejesus out of John Bostic after he took that cheap shot on Andy Dalton. Like, what are you doing? I kept saying that if somebody did that to Roethlisberger, Marquise Pouncey would leave in handcuffs because he was beating the crap out of whoever did that to him. So for them to just go, hey, are you okay, Andy? And not do anything to Bostic was kind of telling for this team. They have no fight right now.
Yeah, I agree. But we got a lot of fight left in us, luckily. So make sure you tune in on Thursday and you can listen to the DFS preview. We got a little hot take. We got you warmed up. And then we're going to cash in on Thursday, hopefully. So make sure you join us. And then Friday for the wagering show. And again, go get that LineStar app. In the meantime, you can follow us on Twitter at LineStar App, at LineStar NFL, at Bogman Sports, and at Joe Pisapia 17. That'll do it for us. There's nothing left to do now except down, set, win.
You've been listening to the PreSnap podcast brought to you by LineStar. Hit subscribe, drop a review, tell a friend, and stay tuned for the next episode from fantasy football experts Joe Pisapia and Scott Bogman.